Welcome one, welcome all, as usual. It's Kurt and I up to lock on Sunday Night Football here. And we actually have a good game tonight, Kurt. And another week of good games. The Bengals and Chargers last week provided a thriller, and the same game parlay we made. Chase Brown sold it. The touchdown sold it. He had multiple chances inside the 5 too. It just didn't get it done. We were one leg away. Kurt, how's your Sunday been? How have you been, man?
Yeah, I was doing a lot better until the last, Jacoby Myers and Josh Jacobs, absolute nuked. So, yeah, I think I was about to make a lot of money. I think I maybe went even or lost a little bit, actually. So, shout out to those guys. Hope they eat shit. Christian McCaffrey, I guess he's just, yeah, no, really, he doesn't look. I know that even early on, he just doesn't look the same.
That fumble too. Bro,
what are you doing?
That one hurt. And I was very, very high on Caleb Williams today, Kurt. I was very high on the Bears.
You were, and so what's funny, I told you on that, and my best lineup had Caleb, and I was hoping they'd get the ball back so Rome could maybe do something. Because I double stacked. Your core double stacked. Yeah, so I did that with you, and I ran it back with Hawkinson, which is what you did too. I laddered one of my favorite best day was laddering Hawkinson. I laddered him all the way up to 70. I wish I would have gone 80. But yeah, so that was – I forgot to take that into play. So I actually definitely made money today. Shout out Hawkinson. Shout out your core. It was awesome once again. The past 2 weeks has been really good. So shout out your core.
Yeah, I was tilted because I minned the main because I had McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, and Marvin Harrison all stuck in the afternoon. So I was very tilted by that. But it was funny, Phil Rafi. I mentioned it to Kurt. I said, you know what day it is? It's Cubby Day. So it's going to be a fun slate. We got the Rams and Eagles going at it tonight. Kurt, one thing I was very shocked by when I was putting in the stats for the Eagles Rams. Who is the number one team in terms of yards allowed per game in the NFL?
It's what I saw. The Eagles are godly on defense now.
When did this happen? We've had a couple showdown slates, and all of a sudden, it used to be, you want to attack the Eagles through the air, you want to do this. Yeah. Well, Q Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are having a huge say in this secondary. The D-line's been dominant. It's a crazy good defense.
I think their young guys learn the system. This is a Schwartz defense, right?
Yeah.
I think they got young. I think he went out and got the guys that he wanted, and it just took a little bit of maybe a couple of weeks to kind of get acclimated, and they are acclimated, and they are flying around, and they are absolutely balling. So Jim Schwartz is on it, bro.
Good. Yeah, and you saw it last week. Look, Terry McLaurin didn't get a lot of targets, didn't get a lot of work. You know why? Because this team is legit. And this Eagles secondary, and I was skeptical. Up until they played the Jaguars, where I was very firmly on Parker Washington, who did just enough. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this defense just doesn't let guys get open. And I'm worried tonight, Kurt, because it's Puka and Kupp. It's our boys.
Yeah, so what happens when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force? Philly's number one against the slot. And we have the slot gods here. So, we have a big conflict of interest here. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see what take I even have on it because I had not really developed one yet.
So, real quick, we're going to go over the stats real fast for you guys. All right, first in the NFL in yards allowed per game, 273.1. The Eagles, they're second against the pass. They are seventh against the run. They allow 99.9 rushing yards per game, which is really good. 173.2 passing yards. The Rams, 350.6 yards allowed per game. That is 23rd. 22nd in passing and 18th in rushing yards. Again, just yards allowed. Kurt, I had what to avoid against when you're going against the Eagles. Well, this year it's been wide receivers who line up out wide. But that's not to say they haven't been good across the board, but they have been really elite with wide receivers who line up on the hashes there. So it'll be interesting to see what McVay has planned for tonight. Well, there will be a lot of Kupp and Puka moving around a little bit, which I think we're going to see plenty of that. I'm not worried about them getting volume, but I am worried about the matchup itself. For the Eagles, who do you target against them? Well, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from. So I did just PPR merchants, and that might seem like a little bit of a bailout, but you need volume against this Eagles secondary to really get there. And it's tough if you're a big play guy. You saw it with McLaurin, who absolutely blanked last week against the Eagles. You have to get 6-7 catches just to get even close to 80, 90 yards and stuff. So that was my thing. And then on the Rams side of the ball, You want to avoid the slot against them. They've been very good against the slot in terms of yards allowed per game. And you know who have sucked against them, or who have done really well against the Rams? The Rams sucked against this. Wide receivers out wide.
What?
Big
You don't have tight
AJ
ends?
Brown. No, tight ends wasn't as big as wide receivers out wide. Tight ends were a part in that, but they get cooked by wide receivers who line up out wide on the hashes there, and AJ Brown's MO is tonight. So, Kurt, what do you take from that?
Oh, I see it here. So LA, LAC. Okay. Yeah, I got him ninth versus out wide. So, God, they're right there with New England, who absolutely got shredded. So, yeah, I mean, Goddard, AJ Brown, a lot of Goddard, but just because you kind of get the discount there. But I love both. I've not really seen I've not checked how they're against the run, but it's gonna be Goddard. I think he's the best point per dollar play, and it's gonna be chalky. But I don't really give a shit because I mean last week Will Dissly was awesome for us. Going right back with the chalk tight ends. I don't care. Shame.
Will Dissly's a legend, bro. First drive, he gets that.
Yeah.
He hits those drops, gets that touchdown and stuff. What a guy. Speaking of houses, Kurt, I think we're putting in an offer. We're putting in an offer on the house today, so that'll be fun.
Oh, no way. Congrats. Nice.
Yeah, it should be fun. Hopefully we get it. It was a really nice one. And my guy Phil, he knows the move tonight. Jam Covey plus Davis Allen even, and print. I'm very much on that. Bajo Jenkins, you got the Goddard captain lining up. Puka Cup. I mean, this one's going to be interesting, Broccoli Taco, because it's tough to get both. But let's go ahead and dive into.
I don't like both. I think we talked about. I think one definitely fails today. I don't think he played both.
I'm kind of with you. It would be shocking to see both these guys get there. Pretzel. Oh man, I'm gonna be living like probably 10 minutes away, so I'll have a babysitter nearby at all times, hopefully. But yeah, Kurt, talk to me about these quarterbacks here. Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, two of the best here. And I wouldn't say two of the best here. Jalen Hurts definitely up there for fantasy, but Stafford, he's very reliant on his wide receivers getting there with him. I don't think he's much of a captain option tonight as much as Hurts is, because we know what the tush push is like when it gets down the 1-2 yard line. Also, his individual stats through the air, he's going to be just fine in that regard. Are you going to captain Matthew Stafford at all? I don't think so, but what do you say?
No, I'm actually going to be low on him overall. Just coming off an awesome game against New England. I think we see more of like a 15 to 17-ish type game from Stafford here. So I think I'm going to be lower on Stafford and definitely not going to have him in the captain spot. I mean, you can't play everybody. There's just no way I'm prioritizing Stafford here. There's just no way. Like, I know, like, he is the cheapest of them all, but there's like, I gotta have Hurts. I want to have Brown. I want to have Williams. There's just, I mean, someone's got to get the chopping block. I'm probably gonna have next to no Stafford. That's crazy. I know.
No, I mean, you got to make a stand somewhere. And, we're going to talk about Saquon. We're going to talk about A.J. Brown without Devontae Smith. You also have the wide receivers and Kyron Williams. Like, there's a lot of names on here. And after Matthew Stafford, who the next playable guy is. It's Dallas Goedert at 6,400. So that fall off happens way sooner than you expect. And, like, I'm kind of with you. Stafford is very, very dependent on, I would say, other factors outside of just himself. And that doesn't mean, like, he can't throw for 300 and a few touchdowns and stuff. But there's a chance he goes 250 yards and a touchdown. That's just not enough, Kurt, because look at the competition he's around. I'm with you. I'm lower on Stafford for that reason.
I think it's a bad matchup.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup. I mean, this Eagles defense has been elite. We have seen this Rams team have success at home. I understand that. But I kind of want to gravitate more toward Kyron, more toward Puka, more toward Cup. And it's going to leave Matthew Stafford not only out of the mix in the captain spot, but almost squeezed a little bit in the flex spot here too. Jalen Hurts, though, number one captain, right, Kurt?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He's just got to be. My God. I think you can definitely make the argument. I mean, I probably have closer than most people with like 8. I think AJ is an awesome GPP captain. Probably the best, honestly.
I think he's the best by far.
Yeah.
Like, tournament-wise. Like, I think I would want to be double the field on him. I'm going to kind of build that out here in a minute, Kurt. I'm going to get Sabre up and running. Kurt, I have to mention, I had my highest finish in the Millie today.
Really?
I got top 35, on the $20. So it'll be interesting. You know why, Kurt? So I got to plug this. We work for Run Pure Sports. RPS 15% off your first purchase here at Run Pure Sports. But it was Sabre Sim. Who else? Top 40. I got 38th in it. that autofill feature on SaberSim, by far, ever since I just started trusting that, using it, making the own adjustments and stuff, been absolutely amazing. And it had my Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, TJ Hawkinson, except the big thing, Kurt, it had Bucky Irving and Josh Jacobs. So
I had 50% Bucky today. That's why I had a chance to win so much money. I had 50% Bucky.
Yeah,
I had 40% Abdullah. Like, I should have made so much money.
I'm going to build out here in SaberSim. I'm going to use the autofill feature as well and just kind of see where we get on A.J. Brown. I'm going to bump him up just slightly too because he is my favorite tournament captain. I think Hurts is the number one guy, though. There was an interesting quote from Sirianni. I think they asked him, like, oh, why don't you give it to Saquon when you're at the 1 or 2 yard line? It's like, well, you never want a negative play, and you're never going to get a negative play on the tush push. And so, like, it makes sense. And as much as maddening as it is when you play Saquon Barkley, the football optics of it makes sense. And I know Sirianni is very polarizing, and I do think that he's a little bit of an idiot sometimes. We all are. I'm an idiot sometimes too. But like, it makes sense. Like you never want to turn your back to the goal line, lose yards. Hell, not even really throwing around the goal line too. And that just continues to show why Jalen Hurts is always a threat to score, and that's always because not only the coaching and stuff, but also his ability with his legs make him very good. There we go, Travis, man, going.
Can you explain? I don't know what is it? Like, was it?
So I make my adjustments, Kurt, and I will go to the autofill feature, and instead of direct fill where I used to copy and paste my teams in, I run the contest sims, I autofill, I hit the autofill, and then I save the contest. What that does, if I entered 10 different contests, single entries, 20 entry max stuff, it'll place the most optimal like ROI lineup in those contests. Sometimes it might dupe, but it'll give me a wider range of lineups overall. So I had 100 teams in the millie, I think, today, and I think I did 120 teams overall, despite having like 3 different 20 entries maxed. So it like kind of dupes it a little bit, but also makes it just easier, more I would say easier to diversify and way quicker to upload and update stuff like late swapping, especially. All right, Kurt, here I am. I'm running these teams. Jalen Hurts, my number one captain. Stafford, not a factor in the captain at all. We are both in the same boat of not being very high on Stafford overall in the flex, but we are very high on Jalen Hurts as well. The running backs tonight, 2 bell cows, Kyren Williams, Saquon Barkley. The thing with Saquon is this is a good spot for him. I mean, it just is. This Rams defense is below average against the run. You know the volume's going to get. Kenneth Gainwell is going to spell him at times, but damn, Kurt, Saquon's been the best running back in football. I think it's him and Derrick Henry that have been 1 and 2 this season individually, and not only just for fantasy, but just running downhill on them. The problem for me, though, is I love all these wide receivers, right? I love A.J. Brown. I love Jalen Hurts. It kind of gets me to squeeze Saquon Barkley a little bit. And if I'm not high on Stafford, well, I might as well click Kyren Williams way more as well. I don't need that correlation with Stafford to play as wide receivers. Maybe Kyren scores a couple. So, Kurt, what are you doing with the running backs tonight?
Well, kind of like you said, if you're not playing Stafford, you're probably playing Kyren. So I do like Kyren. You can do the 4-2 Eagles builds where you just have like maybe Puka, kicker, or like, it's going to be Kyren all day for me. I'm actually going to be lower on Shaquan. I can't say that. I can't say Shaquan's name. Shaquan. Okay. I'm going to be lower on Shaquan. I can't, God damn it. I'm going to be lower on Barkley today. Why can't I say his name?
Saquon Barkley?
Saquon.
Yeah, you got it.
Saquon. Okay.
Perfect. Kurt, I have to mention this.
I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm prioritizing Kyren, AJ, Puka, Cup, not together. And I do think Hurts and Barkley do kind of negative correlate too.
They do. I mean, just because when Jalen Hurts scores a couple touchdowns, he's usually taking away from Saquon himself. AJ, this is the 4-leg parlay. Yes, the 4-leg one, except I added a 5th leg late. It was on the show. Like, we were kind of debating which was the 5th leg, and it ended up being Chase Brown touchdown. And it's funny, you and Easy Money and a couple others too all said, yeah, cash or whatever. I didn't make money, but I'm glad that you only ran the 4 legs and left off the losing one. We'll definitely have a same-game parlay toward the end of the show this game.
Oh, that's a touchdown parlay?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
That's so smart. Yeah, that's so smart. Oh, that's awesome.
It tilted me.
Nuts.
All right. So you kind of mentioned it too. I mean, Kyren, if you're not playing Stafford, you're probably going to be playing Kyren. You're probably going to be a little higher on Kyren. At least I am, right? Makes sense. The Eagles as good as their secondary has been, I still have this in the back of my mind that we targeted them all last season through the air and stuff. And they're 7th against the run. So it's not like you're finding a real soft spot in this Eagles defense either way. But Kyron does know, you're getting the volume with them. You're getting the red zone touches. I definitely prefer Kyron. And I think I prefer him straight up over Barkley. And a little bit has to do with pricing. We have Kyron who's 1,800 less. I'm going to have more Kyron than Barkley tonight for that reason. But it's not to say that Saquon's a bad play. It's just it's really tough to fit with who I want. And if I like A.J. Brown, if I like Jalen Hurts, Saquon's the odd man out there for me. Kurt, any other comments on the running backs here, especially Kyron?
God, I'm just now building out. This is awesome. Tough. I like when it's tough like this, but I think.
You can make it not tough?
No, even with what you're about to say, it's still tough. I mean, have you built them out yet? Have you hand built yet?
I have not hand built yet. I am
hand build. Do what you're saying and tell me it's not still hard if you want to. I was doing the cashy. I was on the cash build with Hurts at captain.
Yeah,
and obviously they don't want to make it to where you can play everybody. But man, Goddard.
What I was about to say too was Britton Covey. We're going to get to the wide receivers now, Kurt. So Devontae Smith out, and if you're wondering, well, why hasn't Covey done anything the last 7-8 weeks? Well, he's been on IR. Last time Smith and Brown were out, it was Covey who ended up going off with 6 catches, all a little kind of around the line of scrimmage and stuff. But he's not just a slot guy. He lines up on the outside, lines up in the slot. He does it all. The Eagles are going to be welcoming Covey back with open arms. I think it's going to be Dotson, Brown, and Covey getting the three most snaps at wide receiver tonight, Kurt. I think we can go ahead and lump tight ends in this too, because this is going to be an important factor. I want Eagles pass catchers tonight. Devontae Smith has not been amazing by any means this season. He has been a little bit of an afterthought on this offense, I would even say. He's had a couple big plays and stuff, but he is not having the type of production that we've come to know with Devontae Smith. And I don't want to overreact, but at the same time, you're giving me a wide receiver who I expect to be on the field for over half the snaps in Britton Covey. And Dotson is going to play almost the entire game as well. And Dotson's actually ran more routes from the slot than any other wide receiver not named Devontae Smith. Who has run the most, though? Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra have done that a lot as well. I want 2 Eagles pass catchers in my single entry stuff, Kurt. And I think that is really easy to kind of get to. And I think that's why Hurts is my top captain, because, look, I can get 2 pass catchers easily with him and have a lineup that's really well correlated. What do you think?
I zoned out, but I thought of something. Remember last time? Now, I know they had both the receivers out, but they went a lot of 12 personnel when they had Smith and A.J. Brown out.
Yep.
But what if they do the same thing and just put A.J. Brown out there and then they were loving that look. The Calcaterra and Goddard have A.J. Brown on the outside and just absolutely run it down the Rams' throat, control the clock. I can see Calcaterra having a lot of snaps. He's 1,800. I'm glad you brought him up. I like Covey too. In the red zone, you have my boy Johnny, I think, finally caught a touchdown. But, it's –
Johnny Will, 2 weeks ago.
I think you had to rotate these cheap guys. I don't really see how you don't. There's no mid-range. There's not a mid-range. So – just go take stabs. Blake Corums has gotten more work, but he's still honestly too expensive for this slate. Calcaterra, Covey. Oh gosh, have you ever snapped for Anus?
So this is the thing with Anus Smith, right? I think he gets hurt the most with Covey being back, and I'm not going to sit here and say he gets a huge upgrade,
yeah, that would
right?
make sense.
I think he's a fine play though as a value, and I also think Johnny Wilson's a fine play as a value, but there's a chance that Dotson snaps rise up from the 17 routes he had last week against Washington out of a possible 29-30. And those snaps just strictly go to Dotson getting 30 snaps, 30 routes, and then Covey playing 17, right? Or getting 17 routes and stuff. There's a decent chance that Anus Smith, Johnny Wilson, even Calcaterra to a degree and stuff don't really see a bump in snaps, a bump in routes even. And so that's my concern, Kurt. I think they're fine values. And look, there's a decent chance that Covey's not even going to see half the snaps, right? That at the end of the day, I can be wrong sometimes. I am wrong. I'm wrong more often than not. But I just have this feeling in my plums, Kurt. I think Covey is going to get over half the snaps, but if he doesn't, you're going to want access to Johnny Wilson. You're going to want access to Anus Smith. You're going to want more Dotson and stuff, and Calcaterra, who you mentioned. That is the issue. But I think that Covey almost directly can take up half the snaps, and all of a sudden it doesn't affect these guys as much as we think. So that's why Covey is my guy. Kurt, any comment on the Rams wide receiver room? I know we touched upon them earlier.
I'm not playing any other guys, and I'll make a comment on Dawson too. But as far as Rams guys, like I don't think Robinson's terrible play, but these like weird price range other receivers like Dotson and Robinson, I'm a pussy, so I'm going to fade him and I'm going to bet him to score a touchdown. I'm sorry, I'm just going to be completely raw. That's what I'm doing. I'm not playing them. I don't like their price range. I don't really like their role, to be honest. I'm going to bet them to score so I don't tilt it. Maybe get like 25% of my money back if they score. Oh, well. Moving on. I'm not playing them. I do not like their price range at all. Dawson hasn't done jack shit all year. I mean, for God's sake, they had the entire team out, and the guy got what? Less than 3 points? Like, that's horrendous. That's horrendous. That's so bad. That's pathetic. I'm looking at his picture. He's pathetic. You're pathetic. Yeah, so fading those two guys, will be betting them to score. If you want to be a pussy like me, follow me. I really want to get into the tight ends and like the scrubs too. I feel like that's honestly the most important part of the slate. So I just want to give my thoughts on the mid-tier receivers. Obviously, Cooper Kupp and Nakua. I'm going to actually lean the more expensive one here. I'm going to go Kupp. I've seen Nakua just get hurt all year. I feel like the guy's falling on the ball. I know he came back. He was crushed for me last week, but I'm going to go Cooper Kupp here. And obviously, I love A.J. Brown. So, yeah, nothing really needs to be said there.
Yeah, I'm with you. So here's my thing, Kurt. I know that you kind of have that premeditated. You're not a big fan of Puka over Kupp. You saw Puka get hurt a couple times and stuff, but
I'm usually Puka over Kupp.
I know. I can't believe you're bailing.
I know.
That's bad. I thought you'd for sure be on the Puka train, and we could be wrong together. And now instead we're going to have to be wrong by being on two different teams. I'm on the Puka side, and I really like just what he's done. The targets he's been getting have been insane. I think the last time we had a primetime matchup for Puka and the Rams, he ended up even dropping a couple targets in the first half and still ended up getting there and stuff. Big fan of Puka. I think that was against the Dolphins as well. That's not to say Kupp's a bad play, but I'm going to commit to Puka over Kupp here. And you know what? If it pays me back, if it ends up not working out, oh well. I'm glad I at least took a stand. But at the end of the day, Puka to me has been one of the best. I wouldn't even say a revelation or anything like that. But you go back to last year and stuff, he's been one of the best wide receivers. Period. I know Kupp has been that way too. I'm not trying to diss Kupp at all, but I think Puka's at another level. Kupp is almost his sidekick nowadays, and it's not a bad thing. When you got two elite wide receivers like that. But it kind of reminds me of like Chase and Higgins in terms of I just think that I'd rather have Chase over Higgins every time for their same price. And to me, that's the same difference with Puka and Kupp. Two elite wide receivers, but one's better than the other, and it's not priced that way just yet. A.J. Brown, let me just go ahead and go on a tangent here real quick. He is the number one guy. All right, if you said, you know what, this Eagles wide receiver room without Devontae Smith sucks, you're right. But you know who doesn't suck? A.J. Brown. And this is going against a team that has been really weak against wide receivers that line up on the outside. A.J. Brown is very much, I'm not going to use the word diva or anything like that, but, he'd be upset if he didn't get the ball tonight, especially with Devontae Smith out. We haven't seen a big game from him either. Over the past, 6 games that he's played, he hasn't even had a game of 6 catches or more this season, but he's also had 300-yard games or more. I just think this is a good buy low spot for a guy like A.J. Brown. And this is, without Devontae Smith competing for targets and stuff, I think that he is probably the best tournament captain play. I think Jalen Hurts is still my number one overall play overall. But I think A.J. Brown, great play, Kurt. And, do you want to touch upon Goddard and Davis Allen tonight for the Rams and Eagles at the tight end position?
I think we have. I mean, the tight end is probably going to are massive on this slate. Like we had the issue with the Rams, the cheap. I mean, they're cheap. They're both very cheap. Don't know what's going on there. Davis Allen, massive chalk last week. Didn't even record a target, or maybe he recorded one. I don't think he did. And then Dallas Goedert, it's like you said. I mean, he's going to be wide receiver too. He's playing all those in the snap, like all those snaps in the slot. I'm going to have 100% Goddard. I'm going to have a lot of A.J. Brown, but all Goddard for me. If he gets hurt or that sucks, I'll just lose money. Don't care. It's a massive spot. I mean, Rams have been killed by tight ends. He's 6,400. He's the only guy in the mid-range. I will jam a 90% on Goddard. I don't care. I need to hear what you're doing with Parkinson and Allen because I want to have interest in one of them because they're so cheap and they're going to have to be passed. Like they're going to be passing the ball. So what are we doing there?
So 3 weeks ago, Parkinson was benched after halftime. I think he was playing really awful, right? Then the showdown game against the Dolphins, Davis Allen took up almost all the snaps there at the tight end position, got most of the targets, ended up being, 9 targets, right? Last week, mega chalk on the main slate, 15 routes, 0. I think he got a complete 0, right? Colby Parkinson did play last week, but only ran about, I think, 5 routes or 3 routes. So the other day, it's Davis Allen, who's still tight end number 1. All right. So my take is you played Allen. He's better than Parkinson right now. He's going to be higher projected. He's going to be higher on. That's fine because he's still tight end 1. However, if you wanted to play devil's advocate, that could be a potentially what's the word I'm looking for? I would say it's not an airtight thing, right? Like I definitely think that there's loose ends there. Like it wouldn't shock you if Parkinson snaps trended back up like we saw the first 9 weeks of the season. But for me, it is Davis Allen over Colby Parkinson, and I'm with you. Dallas Goedert's great play. Look, we don't beg for likes very often, but if you can, hit that like button for us. And once we hit 100 likes, I don't even know what we're at right now. Once we hit 100 likes, we'll give away Big T's core tonight. And coincidentally, it'll be my core as well. So that's why we're giving it away, is because me and him will have a very, very similar core. And it's a great one. So let's see here. And this comment got me to laugh. I did not go to Xavier, went to NKU.
You said Barry?
Yeah, the grass face soccer. No, but I will say Xavier still got a soft spot in my heart. But the lack of talent in the basketball industry has been a little bit weak from Xavier over the past few years. All right, so Kurt, kickers, defenses, talk to me on them. I'm about to finish up my Sims, and I'll tell you what I get after you do that.
Am I talking kickers and defenses?
Yes.
Man, Cardi's really cheap.
Yeah.
Man, they're both so they lowered these so they're not 52 and 54 anymore. Oh, I really like kickers tonight. Man, the defenses are cheap as hell too. Oh man. Oh, these are okay. This actually might be a little. Maybe we don't have to jam these other scrubs. I think I like Eagles D. Let me get Eagles D, and then I like the kickers too.
So explain the Eagles D then, because I think
Stafford. So I have to have that correlation. I'm not going to play Stafford. So these 4-2 lineups, where I don't have to man, you can honestly do I love Davis Allen now that you talked about the routes. Yeah. So I'm back on Davis Allen. Love Kyron. Love one of the receivers. And I'm not playing Stafford. So you could even do a 3-3 without Stafford. Kyron, Davis Allen gets 3 points. Stafford still gets 13. One of the studs for the Rams get 8 catches for 70 yards. The Eagles win 21-7 or some shit. I was talking about. I'm going to try to build that out. But yeah, they price these kickers and defenses very nice. So I would not gloss over them like I usually do.
Yeah, I'm with you. And we mentioned it too. So here's what I did, right? You look at the slate. You open up the slate. You got 15 minutes to build, right? Or 21 minutes to build. Outside of Stafford, your next playable guy is Dallas Goedert, 6,400. A huge 2,600 difference. So Goddard's going to be super high owned because he's the only mid-range option today. Then it goes down to Elliott, Cardi, who are 5K and 4.8K. The next guy projected above 5 fantasy points goes all the way down to Davis Allen using the Run Pure Sports projections after the Eagles defense. So you're going to have this kind of I would say Eagles defense, Rams defense are fine plays because there's a world where they only get 7 or 8 fantasy points and they're in the winner. And that world is very possible. And look, Covey's my guy. He's my number 1 option tonight. But at the same time, you could have a mid-range, but what if Covey got 2 points, right? Well, you would take maybe 17 combined out of the Eagles defense and Elliott, or Cardi and Demarcus Robinson for an example, right? For 10K combined rather than Covey and a stud like Matthew Stafford, right? So I'm getting a ton of Stafford, Kurt, and I'm not really a huge fan. I do like going double quarterbacks though. I think a big reason for that is when we look at the ownership, Stafford's projected for less than 50% ownership here, which is kind of intriguing. So I'm going to bump Stafford down real fast, though, Kurt. And I gave Puka a healthy bump up, and I slightly ticked down my guy Cooper Kupp as well. This should be, it gave me a ton of A.J. Brown, especially in the captain. I think I had 70% combined A.J. Brown, which is exactly what I want. What do you see maybe like build-wise when you're building out those Eagles defenses, the kickers there too? What's your favorite thing to do here? Yeah. Oh, shoot. Okay, hopefully I'm still live. Let's go ahead and do that real fast. Oh, that's great. If I am live, let's go ahead and give away that core then real quick. We'll go ahead and do that here in just a second. Good stuff. Kurt, are you back yet? We'll let him load in here. All right. Core for Big T. The same core as mine here. It is Jalen Hurts captain, Dallas Goedert, and Bertain Covey. Perfect. I appreciate you guys. Let me know you can hear me. I don't have to, I'm not at my usual home, so I didn't know if it was my internet or not. We'll go ahead and take Kurt out of the picture here. And we're going to go ahead and build a same game parlay here in a second. But here was Big T's core one more time. Jalen Hurts captain, Dallas Goedert, and Bertain Covey. I think that it's possible to go 4 Eagles and 2 Rams. I think that is my favorite build, but it'll also be a lot of people's favorite build because a lot of people gravitate to 4-2 favorites. Our guy, Travis Mangone, loves 4-2 underdogs, so he might be on a 4-2 Rams one. Pretzel Football, I said it's almost the same. It is on the site, though. I do have A.J. Brown on the site, but if I did have to build one out, I would have all 3 of those pass catchers there. But yes, A.J. Brown is in my core on the Run Pure Sports website. All right, same game parlay time. Let's pull them up. 40-1 for Bertain Covey at the first touchdown is kind of nice. We also have a little bit of time to build out. What we want 4 legs tonight. We'll get 4 legs tonight. All right, let's do. My favorite one to do is Jalen Hurts rushing props. Whenever I watch Philly and stuff, we're going to do 40 yards for Jalen Hurts on the ground. If I had Kurt here, I already know what he wants, though. Kurt would immediately question me about Dallas Goedert. What do we want for Dallas Goedert? We're going to do 50 yards for Goedert in the air. So 40 yards on the ground for Hurts, 50 yards in the air for Dallas Goedert. If you want better odds, make sure you hit the over 49.5, I believe. Over 50.5 for Dallas Goedert receiving yards. It's about 10 cents better than just 50 yards itself. Same thing with our guy Jalen Hurts for his over-under on rushing yards. You want to hit the over 38.5. It's about 5 cents worse, but it is a yard improved here. All right, so we got those two. Dallas Goedert fit over 50.5. Jalen Hurts over 39.5. We want Bertain Covey props. Do we got Bertain Covey props here? That'll be very, very interesting. Hopefully Kurt joins back on as well. They did not give us Covey props. How dare they? We also have a 1.5 receiving yard line for Johnny Wilson, which is very, very interesting. Let's see here. Cardi or Elliott? I'm on Cardi, and that's just because of the Eagles' willingness to go for it on 4th down very often. I know last week against the Commanders, it wasn't really the case, but Cardi has been, I wouldn't say he's better, but he has been a little bit more consistent in the kicking game for what the Rams want. I like the 7.5 yards, Austin Banks. I really do. So we got the 2 legs now. I'm trying to find a couple others. We're going to do an alt line on A.J. Brown as well. We're going to do 100 yards for A.J. Brown, plus 120. And then I need something for our Rams. Who do we want for the Rams here? All right, Britton Covey. I appreciate that. He's not a plantain. Very good plantain chips, too. I'm a big fan of those. I will go. Who do we want for the Rams here? Let's do a touchdown score. Let's do Kyren Williams, touchdown score anytime, minus 165. Gives us plus 1,200. That'll be the parlay for now. Dallas Goedert over 50.5 receiving yards. A.J. Brown 100+ receiving yards. Kyren Williams the score. And then Jalen Hurts over 38.5 rushing yards here. Plus 1,200. Is there a boost tonight? There is. There is an SGP boost on DraftKings here. Let's go ahead and see how much it is. It is 20%. Perfect. So if this hits, we'll do a $100 giveaway on the next show. $100 DFS contest. We'll try and get it picked before 8 o'clock. Maybe someone can enter a single entry in that sense. Let's go ahead and see if Kurt's ever going to join back. If not, I'm going to be sitting here for 9 minutes or 14 minutes. So ask questions. please let me know if you guys have any questions here about the slate. I will be happy to answer them, especially when I don't have Kurt here to help me out. So this is a good one here from my guy NBA DK. The stud I am fading the most tonight, Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp is the one that I am fading the most tonight. I do get a lot of Britton Covey though, so like I'm going to have plenty of these studs overall. Like I kind of avoid this mid-range a little bit. But you also have to mention too, like Dallas Goedert has a really good chance of being one of the highest owned guys. Like I wouldn't say like outside of the studs, but like he has a decent chance to get steamed up to like 35, 40% because he is the only guy between 5 and 9K. And he's also a very good play in his own right too. But what it does, it has me kind of not really high on Cooper Kupp, not really high on Matthew Stafford. I think I got him down to 40% Stafford here. 4-1 on FanDuel. I do like that. Connor, I got to see what this build looks like. I usually really like cheap stuns. I don't know if I love it with Covey tonight. I don't think I get any Covey captain. Let me go ahead and see what one of these builds looks like too. Okay, it looks good. I get on board with the Covey captain. It leaves a ton of salary too if you go Goddard. Connor, I'm down for that. It would take a touchdown, which he's 40-1 for first touchdown, plus 750 for a regular touchdown. But I do think it is fine. That's a good one here. Thoughts on Kupp and Puka, but no Stafford. I think it would take a lot of volume to get there. You're going to need a lot of catches. You're going to need a lot of short game, intermediate like routes, I would say, kind of like 10 yards at a time. Is there a chance they both go like 8 for 80 or one gets the bonus, the other one catches one touchdown, Matthew Stafford only throws for one? It's thin, Jay, but it's possible. I don't really love it, but it's definitely within the realm of possibilities. I think most people who are going to play Puka and Kupp will probably have Stafford, so you might be getting a little different that way. Do you like Barkley over under rushing yards? I stay away from Barkley's rushing yard stuff because he's so boom or bust. I would prefer, because this defense is a little bit below average and stuff, I would lean the over, but it's not something that I really, really want to do. AJ, I kind of agree with you, man. It would be that if they just try and force everyone else to beat them except for AJ Brown. At the same time, this Rams defense just doesn't scare me at all. So like I'm very fine taking the chance on Brown, especially without Smith to kind of compete. He can also, he's not just a deep route guy either. Like I think there was a couple times where he just got missed from Jalen Hurts. I think he would have had a huge gain for probably about a 60-yard touchdown against the Commanders. Lost his guy on the sideline there. It's just about Hurts getting him the ball, I believe, here. So let's go ahead and do that. Goddard is washed. They will be feeding Brown. I don't mind that take. You're definitely going to get a little bit different. What's the lock tonight? There is no lock. But if I did, whoever had the Britton Covey, I'll remember that, Philly fanatic. Britton Covey over 7.5 is one of my favorite props if we had that, but it was not on DraftKings. I'm going to have to check Fanatics and see if it's over there. Let's go ahead and pull that up now too. Elliott or Eagles D? Last man in on FanDuel. Projections say to lean toward the Jake Elliott side there. I think if you were scripting like a 4-1, and let's say you had like 4 Eagles already, no matter if you chose Elliott or the Eagles defense, I think you could lean the Eagles defense in that sense. And it is the same price there too. But yeah, Elliott just projection wise, but if you want to script it out for a 4-1 Eagles defense, I would definitely take a 2 touchdowns for Hurts. Oh my goodness, he's back, but he's spinning. He's spinning in a nonstop cycle. He left me alone to do the SGP all by myself, and his internet has cooked. There he is. What's up, Kurt? He doesn't know he's live. He does not know he's live. Kurt. All right. Just in case, you never know what someone's going to do on the camera if they don't know they're live, especially Kurt. I don't want to keep him up there when he might not know he is live. That would be a very dangerous thing to do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Johnny takes. That's exactly what I'm thinking. He's just like, oh man, I can't get on the show. He just unwinds. But we definitely don't want that happening here. I'm running the contest sims one more time. I'll let you guys know my final percentages as well. Britton Covey, he is my guy for tonight. Let me go ahead and just do this too. First touchdown, 40-1. I'm going to sprinkle it. I'm going to put down 25 to win 1,000 here too. That will not be the worst thing in the world. Yeah, unwrapping his starters. I'm going to have to give Kurt a nice little text here real quick and make sure that he knows his camera is working. Oh, he left. We didn't even get a chance to see him. If you're playing the primetime slate, which game would you be stacking? I don't play the primetime slates, but if I was stacking a game, it would preferably be tonight. The Ravens charge. Well, you know what? No, I take that back. I really disdain the Ravens defense, and I think the Chargers are cooking a little bit. And the Chargers, especially with Herbert, the way you look in that first half against the Bengals was no fluke. I would lean towards making those Charger stacks. I think what's the thing that I think our guy K Fallick always mentions it too. The first game in primetime slates usually comes in a little bit over-owned. A lot of people wanting the action that night. I do think you can kind of there's 2 high total games and stuff, but I will say the Chargers would be my favorite team on that slate. Dotson already plays a ton first king, so I do like Dotson here. His price is much higher than Covey, but Covey is my very cheap 200 play that just makes everything work on the Showdown slate. If you offered me 5 fantasy points, I think I would take it and run. I think I would take it and run in that sense. All right, let's go ahead and do this. 12.5, and we are all set. If anyone has any questions, rifle them in. I'll go until 8:15 since Kurt's not here with me. Oh, he's coming back. We'll see. We'll see. But again, the same game parlay for tonight, Dallas Goedert, over 50.5 receiving yards. Kyron Williams, anytime touchdown. A.J. Brown, 100 yards receiving. And then our guy Jalen Hurts, over 38.5 rushing yards. This is the thing with Jalen Hurts is that it does scare me when I have those receiving yard overs. But I don't know. I'm fine taking the risk for tonight. And A.J. Brown is now up to plus 125 for 100 yards, which I really like. That is the same game parlay tonight, Kurt. Welcome back. You know, your internet looks lovely. That house that you're in now, oh, it changed. It's amazing. Is it different to roster both QBs on the other site? Let's say the other site has to be FanDuel, right? No, I think, and the only reason why because QBs are so good over there, and Stafford's only 12K on FanDuel. That's I think that's going to be very much the cash route. If you look at our cash core here, it is both quarterbacks and Davis Allen on FanDuel for cash core here at Run Pure Sports. So it's definitely not going to be different price, but it is optimal to kind of build that way. You don't have Barkley anytime touchdown. First Kings, yeah, it was fine. I trust me, I like it. It's just whenever he gets to the 2-yard line, he's got to house it from 10 yards or more, man. That's always my thing. Let's see here. How much salary is good enough to leave on the table tonight? That Britton Covey one that left 2,100 was really interesting. I do think you can leave a little bit of salary, especially if you're playing Covey, because look at this. There's no mid-range. So if you left 3,600 and played Goddard over Cup, for example, or something like that, or Goddard over A.J. Brown just straight up, that's fine. It's not the end of the world in that sense. And it will get you different. I don't like leaving salary. JVC doesn't like leaving salary and stuff, but there is routes to when there is no mid-range like this. You can be a little bit more aggressive with leaving that salary here and getting a little bit different that way. All right, let's go ahead and check out the entry exposure here. We get a ton of Puka Nacua in the captain. Okay, that's interesting. A little bit more Cup than I would like. What time does this slate lock? 8:20. Okay, I just got to make sure. Let me go ahead and do this. I got to adjust one thing here too. Reset the player projections, bump down, bump up. I got to make sure that we have this. Any other questions, please rifle them in. If not, I will sign off just a tad early just to help myself get these lineups in. Again, Covey's my guy. This is an interesting one. I do get 4% Covey in the captain. So whoever mentioned that earlier, Covey in the captain is very, very fine. It's going to be different, but it will funnel to the same build if you fill all the salary and stuff. But it is more than viable here, and something that I will be doing a little bit of. Dotson or Gainwell? Give me Dotson. There's a chance that he plays the whole game. And this Rams defense, I'd rather get the guys playing the whole game than Gainwell, who's only going to get a few touches here. Yep, it's the type of game with the Rams versus the Dolphins, yep, where the Rams fell completely flat. 5-1 builds and play. Andrew Martinez, let's see. Am I getting any 5-1s here? I am, just slightly, and that's because of the Eagles value and the Eagles defense correlating in those teams. I would lean 5-1 Eagles if I did that, Andrew. Kurt's laptop went black and won't turn back on. There he is. Dang. It's all right, Kurt. We got this. We got this. Go Birds. All right, Eagles defense. Yeah, I'm going to play some Eagles defense. I'm also going to I'll be cheering on the Eagles a little bit. It'll be good. All right. Any other questions? Rifle them home. Last chance, last call saloon. And we are golden. Yeah, get Kurt's takes, the ghost takes here. Very much. All right. Well, for Kurt and for I, he says jam Dallas Goedert props. He's in the same game parlay, Kurt. You're very much fine. Yeah, we got him in the same game parlay here. And it should be good. So for Kurt and for I, thank you all for watching. Sorry about the mishaps here with the internet here or the laptop turning black with Kurt and not coming back up. But yeah, Kurt does say get a Dallas Goedert props jammed in, especially if you're doing same game parlays for tonight. All right. Oh, God. Easy money is trolling here. No, we got the over 50.5, baby. All right. Have a great rest of y'all's day. For Kurt and for I, bye-bye. Good luck tonight.